Welcome to the Mass Journal. Basically, this is my trading journal based on my perspective, my experiences, and my knowledge. But the motto is improvement, maintenance, and victory. The goal is to win, the goal is to maintain what we have, and the goal is to improve as we do so. Now, this video is gonna be pretty deep, pretty deep. Now, many of y'all, I don't even know why I'm saying y'all. I only have like 2 subscribers, but the goal again, it's improvement, maintenance, and victory. If I do not believe in the motto, I would perceive this as I'm talking to myself. But I have to keep it as respectful as possible, as honorable as possible, because I am talking to the masses. You know what I'm saying? So today I went through, I was watching a video, Tom Trades, very good trader, amazing teacher, amazing trader. Now, here's the thing, when Tom Trades started his YouTube channel, I started this YouTube channel, but I couldn't post because I was too scared. I didn't have enough. I didn't know. No, I knew enough, but I was still clogged up in my head. And I've always followed his channel. It's amazing because I found out most of the things that he does I do, and it's not because it's a coincidence. We all traders trade the same thing, do the same thing, we just phrase it differently. And the video I was watching of him today was, I'm begging you to take trading seriously. And he speaks about how nothing comes easy in trading. Everything has a price. You have to pay for what you want. And I think about how when I make videos, things roll out of my mouth and it's like, I know so much. It's not that I know so much. It's that I've put in so much effort, intentional effort. I always emphasize this point that many traders have changed but don't realize that they have changed because they don't acknowledge themselves as the trader that has always been required to be. You know what I'm saying? So they're waiting for someone to tell them that, yo, you are now qualified as a trader, which is another skill that you have to develop in a trading space. You say, to make decisions final. You know what I'm saying? You need to make decisions final. You learn a strategy, you understand its objective, then you understand what you don't want. You make decisions final because when it comes down to the charts itself, you make the final say, you make the final call, you make the final decision. Now, again, this journal, as much as I have a perspective of helping traders, wishing that traders could be better, I'm also helping myself. The more videos I do, the more I improve myself, the more I realize what I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So improvement is always there. You can always better your last. That's a quote from some nigga. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, what Tom Trades says is true. Take trading seriously. It doesn't eventually happen. There are traders who take a year and become profitable for life. There are traders who take 10 years, never become profitable. There are traders who take 10 months, quit, come back, quit, and eventually become profitable. And it's not necessarily because of the time, the period that one has put in. Yes, the quant traders have come out to show us that there's so much into trading that needs to be put in order to be a success. Trading is pretty straightforward. Dealing with real-time context using your account to achieve a goal. That's straight up trading. But to understand that context, because that context has to flow, kind of like if I trade patterns and someone trades mechanical points, the person who trades mechanical points is going to have more success than me who trades patterns. As much as the market presents patterns, patterns are very difficult to counter trade because you need to utilize larger time frames. You need to utilize biases, things that don't necessarily influence the market directly, things that don't necessarily have some sort of edge over the market. They have an edge because the trader, accumulates these certain perspectives and portions. Mechanical points, if the market turns, they turn. If the market moves according to momentum, they profit. And the only difference is the risk. So, and there's a lot that comes into understanding these perspectives, and that's why you hear traders telling you that you have to be extremely prepared when you are about to hit a goal, when you try to hit a goal. Because majority of the things that you do are things that require decision making and non-attached decision making. That's what I want to say. Decision making that's not attached. Now, that's me talking about real time trading when you're actually taking trades to progress. You need to make so many decisions, but you need to not be attached to those decisions. Then what helps you to not be attached to those decisions? Number one is understanding that your account should always be there. Your account is always a factor. In fact, your account is the most important factor than to understanding context. How do I handle context? Using my account. So the context tells you how many decisions you need to take. Again, this context is designed again by you. That's why they tell you take trading seriously. Designed by you. If I trade 10 pairs compared if I trade 3 pairs, I'm gonna find it difficult for me to manage those 10 pairs compared to manage those 3 pairs. If I trade 5 time frames compared if I trade 3 time frames, I'm gonna find it difficult to manage 5 time frames compared to 3 time frames. And it's not necessarily activity, it's a change of context. When you interact with a specific signal, there's a lot that comes into that one signal. Could be influenced by other time frames, could be influenced by a direct trade. You know what I'm saying? And if that's the case, its result is going to be influenced by those factors again. Now, if it's 10 pairs, you can't do that because every loss in the market is costly. It's not free. As much as you can counter trade, it's not free. You know what I'm saying? Counter trade happens from a position of, you know what, I understand what happened. I understand the outcome went against me, but I didn't risk that much. I risked enough to be content, and now I'm also risking enough to be content given the market still doesn't play out in my favor. So when we say take trading seriously, we mean take it seriously to a point that every detail is understood. Now, putting detail into your plans and your plots and all that doesn't necessarily mean that when you execute your plan, you're constricted or restrained. You understand market objectives and then you create plans. You know, when we put out blueprints, we understand that the truth is the market doesn't have a time limit. Me funding 1,000 and withdrawing 20,000 a month is me constraining myself, because I could fund 1,000 and make that 20,000 over a period of 6 months, because the market works like that. It doesn't necessarily work to a point where I need to box myself in. Certain goals you put create certain constraints, but you need to understand the market objectives and all that. And this is why we take so many years as retail traders before we start becoming consistently profitable. I wouldn't just say it's just from the technical standpoint and the account standpoint, but it's from the person standpoint. As the man, as the trader, you have to change. You have to become reliable, self-reliable, reliable to a point where if I'm doing this, I know I can get the result out of this because I know I have what it takes and I'll do what it takes to get the answers that I'm looking for. Now, it becomes hard because we're so used to, and society makes us be used to this engagement where we get help from everywhere. In trading, everything that you consume is your decision. Everything that you execute, interact with is your decision. So you are as good as the decisions you've made today. And if you come across this video, no matter how stressed you are, no matter how frustrated you are, no matter how slow trading is, the goal is improvement, maintenance, and victory. That means the idea you've always had for yourself is that perspective. And in due time, you'll get there. I can't teach you how to be a trader, but I can teach you how to think like a trader. I can put out as many strategies out there, but at the end of the day, you decide to say, okay, you know what? I have 10 strategies. I'm going to put them out. I'm going to understand when to assign them, and I'm going to utilize my account. I'm going to maneuver my account in the best possible ways. I'm going to create challenges around my account. If my account reaches this point, this is how I'm going to look to trade. If I lose, if I have a losing streak, this is how I'm going to be looking to trade. Because I find winning creates confidence. Not downsizing my position, winning for me creates confidence. Now in the market, there's so many ways to win. I primarily trade the hourly chart. So if I lose 10 trades in a row, or I lose for 10 days, or lose for 5 days in a row, I'm going to switch to my daily chart. Find the easiest trade. That gives me a perspective that I was never constricted to trade the 1 hour. I just traded because I choose to trade it. You know what I'm saying? There's so much money in the market, and there's so many areas to make this money. It's a matter of confidence. Look, if we have 4 types of traders, trader A, the competitive trader, he will always experience the market in a competitive manner because that's his confidence. The market is buying, I'm buying. The market is selling, I'm selling. Trader B, who trades based on patterns, will only trade patterns. Only when patterns arise in terms of the market context in real time, they'll trade that and only lose upon the loss of the pattern. Given that they can counter trade, maybe. Now again, things like pattern trading requires other time frames to invalidate, to successfully invalidate. What do I mean? If the market was buying, continuation buying, a W can be a continuation. Given that this continuation does not conclude positively, can you take a trade in the opposite side? And what are the factors that allow you to take the trade to the opposite side? You know what I'm saying? Then we have trader C, who trades based on key areas. Now, key areas is not when it gets to support, I sell. I mean, when it gets to support, I buy. When it gets to resistance, I sell. No. Plot out your key areas, support and resistance. Then when it gets to support, you either buy or sell. Because everything is 50-50, and depending on the conclusion of the structure has been created prior that buy or sell, you have mechanical points. You'll have mechanical points. That trader will trade based on that. And then lastly, we have a trader that trades based on the trend. If there is no trend, if the condition of the market is sideways, that trader does not trade. This is choice. This is built by the trader. You choose the methods that you want to interact with the market with. But the truth is, you can use all those methods at the same time. You can list them out, like I said, all 10, and understand when do I use patterns and how do I maneuver whenever I use patterns, because this is a pattern. Are those conditions set? You make money. Do not be attached to the decisions. Make the decisions and move on. The market is trending. I'm going to utilize my trend trading system. That's how you trade. You're not isolated to a particular strategy or style. The reason we put up... Now, I put myself, amongst the people who can speak for the market. So, and as long as you're part of the market, retail trader, quant trade, doesn't matter. If you're part of the market and you're trying to hit a goal, you have a position to speak, to say... The reason we put out things like use a singular strategy, because it's the easiest way to make money, because there's control and management. That's why people use conferences, to understand their outcomes based on the market. But good trading is understanding every market context and having a particular process to understand or break down that market context. I would say, number one, look at the previous trade. What is the current running trade? Where was the previous running trade? How did the previous running trade accumulate? That will tell you more about what structure is intending to do. Here's the thing. I don't like being in the market and I'm in a drawdown. Do I say I'm never in drawdowns? No, I am in drawdowns, but most likely 99 or 90% of my entries do not go into drawdown. I don't like that. I rather lose than going to drawdown where the market is pulling back and I'm in a trade for like 6 hours before I'm in profit. I used to No, not even I used to. When I started learning how to trade, there's a guy I searched, Steve Marau. When you go check him on YouTube, you'll find his old videos. So I went out to search this guy's videos on the net. You know what I'm saying? He has a good trading perspective. You know, a good trading perspective. His technicals are basic. You know, they trade what we call fake outs, which is it's not a real thing. There's no such thing as fake outs. The market literally broke that point out because it was 50-50 and decided to come back and go back up because it was 50-50. It's all about timing and time frame. If you isolate every time frame for what it is, then you understand that every moment and at every time frame in the market is always 50-50. But his market perspectives, his market understanding was spot on because he was trading the hourly and the 15-minute. He's like, if I'm in a trade within 2.5 hours, 2.5 hours, and I'm not in a profit or loss, that means I'm in a bad trade. It's either I'm too early or too late. So I try to live off that theory. Now, is it viable? Yes, it's viable because one candle eliminates structure. A singular candle eliminates structure. So it's always 50-50. We know it's gonna pop up, but we don't know the size and we don't know the direction. But we know it's either bullish or bearish, but we don't know the size. That's the only thing that we don't have control over. And quants try to calculate that. Like you can't. It's like you're trying to calculate whatever is happening in real time. I can't. The only thing I can just do is put out risk when real time operates and see where it goes. So yeah, take trading seriously. Do not expect it to eventually happen. It will not eventually happen. You have to put yourself in a position to make it happen. You put up these systems, you put up these processes, not because they are necessary, but because they're necessary for your steps to be forced into a direction of success. So the trading puts you in a space where you become the operator, the conductor, the coordinator. And most of us reject that because we're not used to this character. But when you look around, meaning you look at your work, your journals, you find out that you've always been that character. Here's the thing, profit is one portion of trading. Once you make good profit, once, and you have an understandable process, the idea is now to create a portfolio. Now, my trading is this juggled up. When I say juggled up, there's so many concepts I keep on explaining. Is because I'm creating blueprints, specific blueprints for specific type of traders. The goal was to create it for my family first. If I can successfully trade, then create some sort of an easy blueprint for my family to trade. The easiest. I ain't about to come teach, I'm sorry, my family trash like markets, what is this, market structure. Here's the thing, you can believe market structure is true until I draw out a specific type of market structure and tell you, okay, tell me why the market structure doesn't work no more. The market is 50-50. Even that market structure you see is 50-50. They structure, yes. But in terms of market structure, the way we label it as support and resistance and FGWs, whatever that is, what can I call this? Trend line bounces and what else? These excavator strategies, I don't know. But that's not what it is. Even, your trend itself is not necessarily a trend. It's a regression. It's the line of best fit. The two best points on the chart put out in a particular sequence give you, the overall direction of the numbers on the chart. So it is based on, the quants are right when they tell you it is based on math and physics. Who's that? Simons was right. It is based on maths and physics. You know what I'm saying? Because you do calculate the abstract. You do utilize the abstract to achieve your goal. But I'm not saying you necessarily need to understand that concept. But I am putting it out there to let you understand that sometimes it's not you being the bad trader. It's these four elements: funding, skill, access, and objective. Do you understand the objective that you want to achieve? And does it align with the market? Do you have enough funding? It doesn't have to be large. It just has to be consistent. Do you have enough skill? Skill supersedes everything. Because minimum funding, you can attain your goal, and you have access. How often do you interact with the market? If you fund once every 6 months, you might interact with the worst market conditions. But if you are able to interact with the market every month, you're eventually going to be a good trader because you want to understand the market for what it truly is. Now, problem with people is putting these constraints on the market that by the month end, I should have this month. The market works based on the month end. No, it's 365, but it's not closed. It's an open system that's 365. Meaning there's really no cap to say, this is how well the market performed over this type of period. This is the best signals from this type of period. They happen randomly. But there's what we call structure. Not necessarily the type of market structure you go out there and learn. Basic market structure based on basic structure. I don't know how to explain it, but there's 3 types of structures. The market is either flowing, the market is either creating a wave, or the market is creating a base. All those 3 patterns have what we call a 50-50 outcome or outlook on market conditions. And given that the market invalidates those points, then we create what we call your reversal patterns. Then we create what we call your continuation patterns. Then we create what we call your support and resistance points. Now, I put this out there because the timeline of existence is weird on its own. You know, we acquire specific greatness at the same time. You know, this is not my idea. This is the idea of many others. It's a feeling of many others. It's like this. Have you not seen whenever you want something to be produced by the world, whenever you felt like there's something missing, it's not you alone who's feeling that. It's like a chain reaction that's charging this thing that you are waiting for to be created. So none of this is our information. All of this is information that you have, that you just uncovering, utilizing, I don't know, different methods. It's everyone's, we trade the same thing, we just phrase it differently. So yeah, take trading seriously. Nothing comes to you, nothing comes easy. Trading doesn't eventually happen, you make it happen. Understand access, funding, skill, and the market objective. Understand your situation, and then don't tie it to trading. You know what I'm saying? Who you are in the market space and who you are at home are 2 different people, but that excellence is derived from who you are at home. So you have to have an excellent perspective of self before you trade, and that's built through evidence, relying on yourself. Understand that whatever you put out to trade, whatever you set out for yourself in terms of a goal, you don't have excuses. You are purely accountable because you can deal with the now and the future. The now and the future is what creates the opportunities and possibilities to achieve your goal. Whatever has happened in the past is the past. In trading, all your losses are in the past. The future is the only truth, because the future decides who stays on top. The traders who've made 10 billion until today, they've only made 10 billion from today going to the past. But from the future, they have to still put in the effort, show up, prove that they can trade. So it's the same thing with you. You just have to acquire the knowledge that you need to acquire and understand your funding, have access to the market, and then execute the way you need. Take it seriously. Now, not everything is going to be in, not everything, you're not going to stay in the same place forever. Here's the thing, my goal right now is not to, after whatever this phase is of me creating these videos, the goal is to have more resources, more, a bigger perspective on this trading thing, you know, more businesses, maybe something like that. So you're not going to be in the same place forever. Some things are just phases. That's why even in prop firms, they set out phases, because realistically, they know if you had a small account and you're a good trader, realistically, you just need to grow that account once, and now you have a baseline point, a point where you can actually work from, which has always been the goal. So yeah, that's what's up. I'm gonna make a live trading chat after this, and I'll be done for the day.